You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 92 for June 2022. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John.
Yay! 2022.
Well, yeah, 2022. Well, we're progressing out throughout the year.
By
We're halfway
2023,
there.
you'll be saying 2022.
Probably. My step uncle has a really stupid joke about the Jewish New Year, right? You know, because it doesn't fall along with the Gregorian calendar, basically that we all follow in most parts of the world. So they're like 53. And he makes always like, I gotta change that number on my checks. Like it's just a dumb joke. I don't think much about it, to be honest. It's just time. It's just how we measure time. I think very little about it, And the fact that we're even in June is crazy. Actually, it just making me realize I've been at the one particular job for a whole year. Forgot about that. So,
I've been at the same job for
ever?
16 and a half years.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's been going on?
Yeah, it's been,
I heard you ate too many Stroop waffles and licorice.
No. I ate some dodgy chicken. I was not very happy last night, but
Yeah.
I got some glasses.
Yeah. Right. I'm not even looking at you while we're recording this, so I don't even know. Are you wearing them?
Maybe you need some glasses.
Well, I usually, it's the same thing when I'm recording with the guys. I don't look at where we sort of conference together.
Yeah, I
look
see the
at
side of your face.
Right, and that's the other thing is like, this doesn't, I'm looking over the screen over here. I'm not looking at the webcam.
You should move the webcam.
Yeah, when I move.
I got a webcam for my birthday. That's pretty nice. I got a Logitech C something or other 902.
The C90 922 Pro is pretty good. I think that's what this is. I bought one of those for work, and upstairs I have my my 6400, right? My Sony 6400 pushed in through the ATEM. And then I have one of the Elgato face cams as backup. And I gave one of my coworkers the Logitech Brio because the coloring on that was just the worst for me. Maybe I was always off color. Didn't matter what I did. Put proper lighting on there and change the temperature. It didn't matter. It was just always off color. But it's fine in the office environment. And it was just a spare thing I wasn't using, so I gave it to a coworker at work. Rig it up on his desk system.
Yeah, I kind of like this camera. I already had one for my my workbench setup that I have that I still wanted to go do streams on, do soldering and that kind of stuff. Haven't had the time yet because every single minute of my life that is not work is now being taken up by working on drawings. So that's
working on next book.
Working on the next book, which is going to be a very busy time. That's going to be fun. I think I finished 2 last week. Yeah, that's about my tempo that I should get to if I want to make it before the end of the year. I still might not do 150 pages because it's a little bit too much, but
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry. I have most of it queued up. I have all the sketches ready for to work on. So I'm probably gonna take a couple of more days off somewhere in the next couple of months to work on those pictures, ink and flat color things. So then I could just plow through them in a very systematic manner because I know that if I work on one picture just one picture at a time, I'll be working on that one, and then 2 weeks later I'll have it finished. It'll be looking great and I'll have 5,000 different versions of it, and then I won't have like a bunch of other pictures that I should have had done already. So yeah, uh, I still don't think I'm gonna make 50 pictures this year because that's just not gonna happen. Because I should do 2 pictures a week then, and that's not gonna fly unless I take so much time off work.
Hmm.
But I might there might be some time off that I need to take somewhere this year anyway. So I have to figure that out.
Mandatory vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Apparently there's a 2 week minimum of vacation you need to take. 2 weeks off work. Not like you can't take here a weekend here, a weekend there.
Hmm. At work, they do this sort of mandatory, and it's not. It's like you can't. You don't sort of bank on it. I mean, you don't guarantee that it's going to show up. But every once in a while, the CEO will say, "Okay, uh, you're taking a mandatory wellness day, and you have to take it by this date." And this is for all employees. This isn't just like a certain level of management or developers or something like
What
that.
is a wellness day?
Yeah, they did that last year. I think it's just because they just want to make sure people, especially under these new sort of circumstances, don't feel burned out.
What is a
Uh,
wellness day?
A wellness day is sort of a mandatory day off, where it's basically paid time off,
Oh, so you can
and it,
do
it
other
doesn't.
stuff.
Well, yeah. So they make you, they give you like a month and a half, and they say you have to by this date take a mandatory day. Like you have to. Like all managers get mad at your people if they don't take that day off, right? That kind of thing. And then they did. There was like Employee Appreciation Day or something in the U.S., and that was a thing
That sounds
somewhere in April or May, and they made us take a half day off or whatever it was for one of those days.
yeah. That doesn't sound weird.
It doesn't sound weird, but I'm okay. It's free PTO. It's not like it doesn't, account against my existing earning rates
Hmm.
on PTO. So,
Yeah, we used to have a every 6 months you're not sick, you get an extra paid day off.
mm,
Um, but they moved that into we're just gonna give you the 2 days a year because we don't want people to come to work sick just so they don't have to
right, take their
lose that
time off.
day.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Uh,
okay, so I haven't been sick in like 10 years, something like that.
yeah,
Well, apart
I
from me
really,
ending up in the hospital with a
yeah,
gallbladder infection, but like,
I rarely ever take a sick day. And by rarely, it could be every 10 years. Um, Yeah, it rarely happens, and then usually I just sort of muster through it. And also the other thing is, and this is sort of the disadvantage of working from home is, unless you're really put out, you can just work from home.
yeah.
I can feel crappy at home and still muster through
Well,
it.
I can understand some people like they have a home situation where it's not that conducive to working from home because it's either a mess or there's lots of noise and that can
Right, there's
distract or
kids, there's
kids.
family. Yeah, I will. I don't play the game, but there's definitely some people when I'm um, in a Zoom call with them. I just expect the wife or the kids to be walking around in the background, or there's the animals, the dogs bark, right, or the kids are noisy in the background.
Well, the
Whatever it
most
is.
noise you get here is like my hamster making noise.
Right, that's for you. Uh, yeah, I don't know what kind of here. I mean,
Well,
I'll hear road noise from far away because there's a big highway that's not far from where I'm literally sitting right now.
yeah, but you have the
Um,
same at the office,
sure.
probably.
I obviously the same problem in offices. There's people around me, and we're all in different meetings, and or some people just like to socialize and talk when they're in the office, right? Because that's not a normal thing anymore, and Yeah, they can get noisy.
Yeah,
And
if we have an office day right now, it's like you can get nothing done on that day. It's like there's so
I
much conversation going on, and it's
right.
like,
I wear
okay, I
my
would like to finish this piece of code, please. Can you please fuck off?
right.
I don't say that, but like that's what my brain is
I
telling
wear
me.
my
I want
noise
to.
canceling headphones, the MX4s, right? So I wear those things, and they are they in the threes now? I don't even know. I've lost count on numbers. The threes. The over the they now I think released the fours, but I don't have the fours yet. Um, or maybe the fives. I don't even know. Whatever the last year's or previous years worth of wireless head. I have a pair that I have just literally at work, and that at least gives me sort of a cone of silence a little bit
Mm.
in my brain around me for the most part. It does not help me when it comes to in the Zoom call. In fact, I took one of the Stream Deck Minis that was sort of spare that I wasn't using, and I rigged that up to my work PC, and I rigged that up to Zoom so that I can hit the mute button and turn the camera off pretty rapidly. A little Stream Deck Mini at work, so
Are you running your camera through OBS or something?
not at work. I just sort of there was a plugin someone created for Zoom to allow you to have control over sharing your screen and
Mm.
microphone and leaving quickly and stuff like that. So I can do it from a button, and then as long as it's statusing correctly, which it does like a good 90% of the time, especially if it's the most prominent app that's on my screen. The plugin does a pretty good job of staying in sync. But what it'll do is it'll let me know if I'm on, if I'm muted or not.
Mm.
So because you know how it is, you go and you have to go look for the thing, you gotta wait for the overlay thing to pop up, and then you gotta go click a thing, and when you're in a meeting and people are hitting you up with IMs and there's emails happening, and there's only some part of it where I need to be kind of there, but I don't need to be actively participating. So of course I'm gonna read an IM and respond to it during a meeting or something like that. It's a little better discipline. I sort of put my hands up, and that's my indication to myself that leave it alone. You can wait for this meeting to be over, and the other indication that I tell others that if my hands are up, it means I'm paying attention. That's what I do. I put my hands up like this, in frame. And it's also for me, it's keep it away. And there's lots of blinky stuff for me all day at work. And yeah, just gotta leave it
Speaking of
alone.
phones, you have the Pixel, right?
Yeah, I have the Pixel 6. I didn't get the
Are you
Pro.
happy with it?
Yeah, I like it.
Hmm.
It's good.
I have a OnePlus 9 Pro, and I hate it.
Yeah, the Pixel's fine. The Pixel series have
Too
been
bad they
good for
don't
me.
really sell it over here.
The thing is, the Pixel 6 Pro, I was originally going to buy that, and you know what? I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't get it. Let me say that. Because it would be too big. This is big enough, right? I think I had a phone that was a little bit bigger in the past, and I was just I got used to it. But compared to the Pixel 5, which was smaller, it was significantly smaller enough to screw me up for months on end. So I got used to it.
Hmm.
I just sort of enjoy a bigger phone format. And I know that, like, what we used to have were the size of, like, the mouse. That used to be a big phone back in the
Yeah,
day.
remember the what's it called? The one with the scroll wheel at the bottom, the Magic, HTC Magic.
Oh, that was the first one you got. Your first Android phone.
No, actually, that's the
Was that a second one?
I think the A1, the first. It had a slide out keyboard.
Maybe. I know they also gave us the Droid for Ryzen that
A
has
G1.
slide out
It was the
keyboard.
G1.
The G1 I think was the first one. It's made by HTC, and
Yeah.
T-Mobile was the carrier for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
US. And
Also,
then
it was called the HTC Dream. It,
okay,
it was an okay phone. The slide out keyboard was okay, but like Yeah, I sold it to somebody who really liked it. Like, it got some
Mm-hmm.
money back for it, so it's good. I got it. I think I got it. Did I get it with my my subscription or not? I don't remember. It was a it was a it was an old phone. I think I still have the Magic somewhere
Hmm.
because I got it with Google I/O.
I guess when I move, I'm gonna find all the boxes of shit when I'm starting to toss. I gotta go and look in the storage room and see what the hell's in there. Once I can clear out all the spider
All,
webs
all
and
the all
stuff.
the phones with the with swollen batteries and shit.
Yeah, there's that Pixel One. It's like that. So so yeah, I mean I'm gonna toss all that shit out. Um, yeah.
I found a SIM card in the not SIM card an SD card in the Magic
Mm-hmm.
with like still photos on it from Google I/O. I used it for like a couple of months and I was on to the next phone. I bought
I
so many
still have.
different phones over the years.
I have a feeling it's still down there because again, in my brain it was when I leave I'll get rid of all this junk. Let me just pile it up. And that's been going on in my brain for since I've lived here. Um, so I still have the original Chrome OS laptop. What do they call
Yeah,
those things?
Chromebook.
Chromebooks. Yeah,
I
that
still
first
have the
one they gave
Pixel,
us.
Chromebook Pixel.
Yeah, you got that $1,300 really nice one.
Yeah, that I had to pay taxes on when I was entering the Netherlands. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
so I still had to pay like 200-300 bucks in taxes. So that
Mm-hmm.
sucked. But hey, it beats getting taxes and a fine because you were importing a laptop. Because
Wow.
some guys were getting a fine.
Hmm.
It runs Linux now, so it's good.
Oh, do
It's
you still use it?
I have it. It's got a very small SSD on it, so
That's the absolute habit that I need to curtail, which is the oh I have it, I'll just put it in a list. And again, I'm planning on moving, so when I move, I'm not planning on filling the basement, big old empty basement full of crap. Right? That's not my goal. My goal is not to have that crap.
But speaking of crap, OnePlus they brought out a new update for May, so the May security update, and they basically broke fast charging, so I can't fast charge anymore, which
Hmm.
is horrible because now I have to wait 2-3 hours to get it to fully charge. It
I
sucks.
I just drop my phone on top of the wireless charger overnight. I'm fine. Except if I'm like,
Yeah, but
refuting getting out of bed for four
this
hours.
thing before the update, it charged for uh like a couple of minutes in the morning, and it would
Oh,
last for two
okay.
days.
Got it. Yeah, I just charge
Now
my
it lasts a
phone.
day
Yeah,
because the
I charge.
update messed
Yeah.
with the power usage.
I'm always charging my phone. When I'm at my desk, I plug it in. When I'm going to bed or whatever it is, I just put it on and I go to bed, right? And my phone's charged. And the only times where I create a condition where I've drained it to death is I'm watching videos or something because I don't want to get out of bed, and then that turns into I still don't want to get out of bed, and that becomes 3 hours of me not wanting to get out of bed, and I'm using the video on my phone, and it goes from 100% down to like 40%.
Yeah, so I currently it says it has 1 day and 8 hours left, but it doesn't really have one day and 8 hours left.
I guess it depends on what you do with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just doing instant message and it's off, that's one thing. But if you are actively watching movies or TV or something on it,
Oh no, it's in the background. It's off most of the time.
mm,
Hmm.
yeah.
Anyway, so they messed up the update, and there's lots of people complaining about it. Also, the theme for some reason it takes some color from the background you have on and uses that for the theming. So everything turns into a brown,
Oh, you
red
can
color.
in Android,
That's the
but
material you
11,
crap, and there's no way to
12.
turn it off.
Oh, yeah, you can totally turn it off
No,
in stock Android,
you can't on the
the OnePlus.
OnePlus.
So the battery life for this is not going to be nearly as good. So I'm at 92% right now, and it's telling me that I have 19 hours and 3 minutes remaining. So, I mean, if you're looking for something that's got like 3 weeks of power on it, well, no, the
I would
Pixel
buy like
6
one of
won't have it.
those ye olde Nokia's. That'd be fine. There's a 3310, I think. That's a newer phone. It lasts for like a week. It's wonderful. But like OnePlus, I have no respect for you anymore. It's just garbage. They're
Mm.
basically Oppo anyway, so I think
Yeah, I've never had a OnePlus. I heard good
they
things
were
about them in the
recommended about
past.
like a lot of people,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's just I had such a bad experience with this. It's like the same. It's almost as bad as Samsung at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, Samsung would always make really good quality hardware.
Yeah, and then and put like
Everything was pretty
heaps of garbage on it.
right. The only kind of problems that I always had with Samsung is they'd want their Samsung everything, and then they'd screw up synchronizing my contacts away onto their stuff instead
Yeah,
of
yeah,
onto off my account. So they always f that up.
yeah, yeah.
They'd always want their Bixby stuff, and I'm like, no, none of that.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff about the software layer. They would totally f up that whole experience because they were being, let's steal that business from Google. Um, and I would say, I don't know that their camera was much better. Sometimes it could be a little better. They have some feature sets based on their hardware. But for the most part, they made quality hardware. And I would never take that away from them. But then they would do all that other crappy stuff.
Yeah,
And
so
then those
that's
phones would get bloated with all of the carrier junk here in the US, at
so that's
least.
the thing with the OnePlus. So after an update, it started complaining, "Oh, I need to have access to your contacts and this and that for a fucking gallery app from OnePlus." I'm like,
Well, because they want to use that to send to. That's probably their reasoning
"Yeah,
for
but
it.
they don't need it." And
Right.
what they say basically, you cannot use the gallery app unless we have that permission. Go for yourself, OnePlus.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that experience should be managed through Google, right? Which was originally, or the OS. Let me say that, not Google specifically. I meant it as in like Android, and that originally was what it was. You would send to a particular kind of activity that would have access to certain kinds of resources, but they wouldn't necessarily have your contact list. They would go do a thing, and the OS picker would pick the thing, and then you would,
That's
and
still the
handle it.
case, but the problem is that this thing wants the permission, even though it's not going.
Right. Right.
It's not
Doesn't need it.
officially going to use it, but I know they're probably doing something shady on the back end because
Hmm.
it's OnePlus, and I think OnePlus is garbage.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I'm
I
just
don't know.
completely done with these.
Yeah.
This is going to be the explicit episode. John angry at OnePlus.
angry, angry man. Well, what was it grumpy old man John?
Yeah. Old
Uh,
man yells at bank.
old man yells at cat in tree.
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Old man, you just say old man yells and just put underscore 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 underscore.
Yeah, just a
Leave it
black
as
card.
blank. Old man
Oh yeah,
Mad
so
Libs.
I got glasses, so now I can see gooder.
Yeah.
And now if I move it up, I everything is blurry. So I'm getting used to it, but like the the thing is that if I don't wear my glasses, before I started wearing the glasses, everything looked normal. Then I started wearing the glasses, and things got adjusted because of the astigmatism stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started wearing the glasses, everything looked skewed in the when I was wearing the glasses. Now I'm wearing the glasses, everything looks fine,
Because
and
your
then when I
eyes are
take them off,
adjusting.
everything looks skewed.
Right. Your eyes are adjusting. It takes a while for them to kind of,
But the fun thing
if
is,
they
when I
will,
wake up in the
reshape.
morning, I don't have that issue. Everything looks okay, fine. I can read stuff, but then I put the glasses on, and I walk around, and then like within a couple of minutes, and I take them off again. Everything is blurry, so it's kind
Hmm.
of funny.
So again, I probably mentioned this before. A habit I picked up from my father is sometimes he'd take his glasses off, and and that way he sort of let his eyes adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say
I,
though, with the glasses, at the end of the day, I'm less tired.
hmm.
So so that is a very big difference. I can actually
The
I
eye
can
strain.
do stuff at night, like do artwork and stuff, and work on that stuff at night instead of
It's it,
being tired by the end of the day.
it's so when I'm watching, let's say, a movie or something on the 34-inch upstairs, uh, what I'll do is I'll lean back in the chair, and that's taking it's probably separating me from the screen an extra foot, 2 feet or something easily, and so I go and I put my glasses on for a moment, and then I forget that I have, and then like I realize I have my glasses on, and so I take them off and I put them down, and I'm still the same distance away, and I just don't need them, and so there's some sort of psychological habit of wanting to put them on to see a little sharper, and then taking them off. I don't need them.
So when I got the glasses on the way back from the optician, they were like, I was like looking around, and everything was in HD. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, you never
I
notice
can
that.
see leaves on the trees far away. What the hell is this?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had a doctor's appointment this week, and I could see it. It's like mostly sharp, but I went down there doing the eye test, and I'm doing the thing, and I'm wearing my glasses, and I was like, it's like I think that might be a G, and that was it. And I said, oh, how far did I get? She's like, oh, you got 20/20. I was like, oh, I didn't get that one word. She's like, yeah, yeah, you got far enough. We call that 20/20. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so the
It didn't
distance
feel that
adjustment for
way.
me is the distance is not the problem. Like I don't have like a very big correction on the far sight thing. So
Hmm.
plus something or other. It's like plus
Yeah, I'm
0.25 and 0.5. So it's
I
not
can
that big,
see. Yeah,
but
I.
I the astigmatism really messes with you.
Hmm.
It's like everything is blurry, and I didn't notice.
You'll get used to it. It'll adjust.
Oh
Just
yeah,
gotta
I
let
noticed.
let yourself
I noticed
adjust.
immediately.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how eyes work. Anyway, so you have some house updates. You
Yeah. Signing some checks. Got some deposits at the end of this month. The checks, those checks, the issue. I did. I did a walkthrough. Obviously, since the last time we recorded, I did a walkthrough and talked with the electrician, and we talked about all the places that some additional boxes aside from the standard. Even gonna have him run a line from the, all the way from the panel in the basement all the way up into the loft, so that if I want to run a self-standing uh, air conditioner unit, I can do that up there so that
mm,
it doesn't affect the rest of the circuits. So lots of things like that. I have a kitchen island. They have this what they call the seating area, where they basically have what we call a kick, where it sort of overhangs a little bit. And it's a place where you can stow away the stools, and people can have places for the legs and stuff like that on the backside of the island. So I asked for an outlet inside. I think or at least state code is you have to have one on the externally or on the outside of um, one or two. I think it's just one has to be externally accessible on the outside of the island, and which not something I have up here. The small island I have up here, and then I was gonna have one on the inside, so that way if I want to overhang anything powered, it can kind of hide the outlet and stuff like that. So,
mm,
yeah, all those things sort of stack up, and then I'm gonna sort of have them do upgrade on the deck in the back. I wanted to do frameless shower doors and stuff like that. What did I just say? Doors, whatever.
toys.
Doors. But now that I'm really kind of in it, I'm thinking about sort of like I already know once I have an assessment on where the sockets are, and again, the last time I saw it was 2-3 weeks ago. Was inside, and they didn't have the drywall up yet, because the electrician's got to go do everything. Um, So one of the other things that I talked to him about, and I already sort of bought them, about 12 of them. There are these faceplates that have sort of LEDs underside, and what they do is they sort of tap onto the electric outlet socket. And the new version, I think, has its own battery inside, so it charges off that. And when it gets dark in the room, the LEDs on the underneath the outlet sort of light up. And so the advantage of that is I could put that in the kitchen. I could put that in some, like, downstairs in some areas, and certainly in my bedroom or in the bathrooms and stuff like that. So there's sort of like a night light. So I
Hmm.
bought those, and I had that conversation with him. And so I did those things, and yeah. So I mean, that's kind of all this stuff starts to really price up, and yeah, I've been writing
Money into
checks.
pit.
Well, at this point, it's sort of spare savings stuff that
But yeah,
I'm
at
ready.
least your
But
house is
I'm
mostly built, right?
yeah, the shell of the house is built. It's just they have to put the drywall up, run the electric. Um,
And put the outside on.
they have to build the detached garages for the three houses that were clustered together. They have not done that yet. Um, and I'm having them the electrician trench out, obviously, while the ground isn't sort of completely landscaped. Trench out uh, 50 amp to the detached garage for my high powered wall connector for my car. He's going to put a mini panel in there. So, all that stuff is, again, adds up. And so I've been going through that process. But now I'm starting to think about, all right, well, I got the front door and I have a back door, and then I will have a door from the outside into the garage aside from the garage door, right? So I'm now thinking about what I want to do in terms of, maybe do I want to do automated door locks, for keyless?
Mm.
And so I'm thinking about that, and then I'm thinking about, do I want to stick cameras in? Now's the time to do it, not after the fact.
What
So I've been,
the best thing you can do is have network cabling laid.
oh
Or
yeah,
at
I'm
least
that's
have
part of my
tubes.
upgrade. I'm having to run Cat 6
Oh,
instead of
instead of
coaxial,
running Cat 6, what I think you should do is have the piping laid so you can lay your own cable
the
if you need to.
conduit. Yeah.
Conduit.
Um, And then he even said to me, he's like, "Oh, I'll even run when I'm doing it. I'll make sure that I'm running, Cat 6 down to near the door for if you want to get one of those wireless door cams, or door cams, wired door cams or something." So,
Hmm.
he's thinking about all that, and again, all this stuff sort of just stacks up in cost. But I started looking at what do I want to do for doorbell, cameras, and what I want to do for, uh, somewhat keyless entry and stuff like that. So I've been thinking about all that stuff, and I'm giving that consideration. And again, one of the first thoughts in my head dawned on me is like, holy crap, I gotta put, I gotta put blinds in. Normally, blinds exist, but now I gotta make decisions about blinds, and it's not. They're asking me. I'm gonna buy the house. There's no blinds. They're not putting any blinds in for me. So I mean, I could go over to Home Depot and I could probably just drill in holes and do it myself.
Just put
Um,
some reflective film on it so people can't look
oh
in.
yeah, the blackouts or whatever you're talking about. So there are they have the
Is that
new thing
allowed
that
even?
they have is cordless ones. So here I went over to, again, a local sort of, well, Home Depot basically. And I went over there and I bought replacement, because actually the ones that I'm replacing are ones that I bought, that, or at least I said, "Hey Dad, I need to put these up." I said, "Can you help me with this?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he showed up with some cheap blinds that he bought. Got it, went over to Home Depot and bought something, and it was not a big deal. I was like, "Oh, okay," and that they replaced what I needed. The thing is that a lot of these sort of what we call Venetian blinds, sometimes the blind part is cheap, and they will just snap off.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, and so they were just like that cheap vinyl or whatever it was, and so I was like, all right, I got to replace that. So I did, and I bought months ago. I bought a new set, and I just never got around. I was being lazy. I never got around to should have going up, getting a step stool and looking up and getting up to the top there and just figuring out what the hell was going on. So I did. I got these two cordless ones, and they're great. The problem is they're 1 inch or they're like 2 or 3 inches just too short. So I now need to go back and replace those. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to replace a couple other around here. And this made me start thinking about, wait, I got to do this again in the new home. And then I got to do all my windows. I got to do all my options. I got to do all my things. And I was like, well, I definitely want to do the cordless because the cordless, you just lift and they stay. You don't have to deal with a string and some stupid thing. And and then there are some that have motorized ones. So there happens to be a store that just deals with blinds and curtains around here. So I think when I get to that day when I take possession, I'll probably just prior to that I'll consult them and see what the prices looked at. I looked at their website. The prices are the same as if I go over to Home Depot. So maybe I get a motorized solution um,
Yeah.
in some places because it doesn't seem to cost that much extra. And
Just go to
maybe
IKEA, man.
yeah, whatever. I mean, I just go look at it, but I definitely want cordless ones, and maybe cordless with potential of being motorized, and capable of being integrated with something like the Alexa or something like that,
Yeah.
or
So they have
Google.
IKEA has electric remote control blinds. You can
Hmm.
hook up to home automation and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, could be interesting, and they're not expensive, so that's also very
right.
nice.
Yeah, and it's the overall sort of smart home integration stuff that I care about.
Hmm.
And you think, oh my god, you're being lazy, but I'll tell you one thing that's been nice, especially during pandemic time. I have a roommate who is not so sanitary, and I don't think he really washes his hands. And I think that when all this stuff happened, he did a couple of sort of uh, pretended to sort of kind of wash his hands in front of me because I was making an issue out of it in general. But my whole point is, I had these Alexas, and he sort of is trained how to turn things on and off, right? Using his voice. So all the common places where we exist in the same, like the kitchen or whatever it is, he's touching very little things, right? And so you would think that's stupid, but like I don't really have a clock that I go stare at anymore. I just say, hey, wake word, what's the time? And then I go about doing and I could do it as I'm going downstairs to the kitchen and going back upstairs, or say turn the lights off. And you would think, oh, that's just like first world problems, but it's actually kind of nice because then you don't have to worry about it. You just kind of go about your business.
My Google Home keeps triggering when I have a podcast or some show on in the background
Oh
on my
yeah, I
PC.
had that.
It just
Uh,
keeps activating and saying something stupid, and like it thinks it heard me, and it
mm,
thinks it heard something I said, but it wasn't me. And it's like, why are you doing this? And then
yeah,
sometimes it doesn't. Oh, I can't find the you.
yeah.
I'm
The
like, I just pushed the button. I just did it on my phone. It was fine, and now you're complaining about it. It's just
Yeah, I was today. I said turn off. I have a specific brand fan in my bedroom, and I just said blah 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 turn off, and it's like you can't cancel your last order. And I was just like, there's no set of words that I said that have anything to do with that, right? And sometimes it's so imperfect about it. The Google devices are much better about it, but the Amazon devices are maybe not as keen. I experimented with changing it to the wake word to be computer. And of course, I happened to be watching a YouTube video from like iJustine on the TV, and of course it was triggering itself all, and I just had to stop it.
but it
And
shouldn't because it's supposed to just listen to your specific voice,
it's
right?
supposed to, and I will like I I won't
Well,
fault Amazon as well
this is the same
as
problem
much.
I've been having because the podcast people don't really sound like me at all.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
there was even a one with a female voice. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. So for me, I'll be living alone, so I'll have a little less of a problem. But
Yeah, unless you have your doors hooked up to it and somebody just opens up your stands next to your door, starts
hmm
shouting,
and I might
"Wake
not.
word, open the front door."
Right. And I might turn that stuff off, right? Like the particular lock has a separate device that wireless connects with your Z-Wave and the rest of the connectivity, and I can just turn that off
Hmm.
to kill that automation if I want to, if I feel it's a thing about it. But I'm at this point where I know there's going to be two doors I'm going to come in and out of the most. The door that's physically on the garage for humans, not for cars. And then the one that's probably the back door that I go in to get into the house. I probably will not be walking through the front door. I'll be coming in through the back. And so, it looks like in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to need to get three of those.
Yeah. So I
And
put up a thing for next for when you take possession of the house. We'll talk about some home automation in the future. I think it's probably a good
yeah,
topic at
I
some
was
point.
looking at Home Assistant in the past, and I'm thinking about it, and I think it's going to be one of those things I will think about more aggressively when I'm in the house, right? And I have an opinion for being in the environment, right, of things I care the most about, you know. So
So I think for the future, I think the next two, three episodes will be in your old location, and the next one will be in the new one.
yeah, I mean, I should be in theory, if all goes well, I should be in the house by November.
Hmm.
Somewhere in the course of action, it will be October. And yeah, there will be a thing, there will be a time where, let's say I pay up for, the month of October. I'm going to try to utilize, I'm going to try to clean everything up, get rid of stuff, like even existing stuff. And when I'm sitting down here having the same conversation with other people, I always lean over and I look at the particular super heavy
Stacks of old
entertainment
hardware.
entertainment furniture that I inherited from a previous roommate because he left it, and it's in good shape. But I just all I did is I put the sound system on top of it and the TiVo on top of it, and it's basically an empty shell with crap on top of it. And I'm like, I don't want that to exist in my new place. And I also don't want any of that crap that's up there. Right, so I have DVD players. I have and again, I like my stereo system, but it's way out of date. I'll give it to somebody who wants it, or I will just trash it.
Hmm.
Right, and I'll do the same thing with the TiVo. The TiVo has the only thing it has value on it is a bunch of Craig Ferguson shows. A lot of them. I let it fill up with Craig Ferguson shows, and I love that show. I love Craig Ferguson, the Late Late Show. I always laugh. It was always good, but I'm also. When's the last time I've gone and looked at the thing? I'm happy to let it go.
Yeah, you're doing an Elsa.
Yeah, I'm happy to let it go, and all this crappy furniture down here, and I'm get rid of that futon and get rid of that screen because I think some mold or something might have gotten into it, so that'll get trashed. And
Oh, the
once I
funky
clean up all
futon.
that stuff, I will take a lot less stuff with me. Was the larger point of bringing it up, and that will be the kind of the stuff that I move. Right, there will be a lot less big furniture. Like these tables that I have down here for recording podcasts, like I don't think I'm gonna use all of them in the same space. I don't think I'm gonna need all of them up in the loft. And I'm probably gonna set up my office up there, so it's not gonna be a separated, isolated recording space. It's gonna be I'm up there with my system PC and then this thing, and it's literally everything is gonna be sort of in the same space.
Hmm.
So I won't. It's sort of my office. The whole loft will be my office, which will be my normal desk setup upstairs, up there, plus recording all together. So Um, you know, and then again, the big heavy goal is between then and now is to get rid of all the shit that I absolutely don't
Clean
need.
up.
And even the stuff I carried over that's just been sitting in the storage room, and hopefully nothing's been flooded over there that I know of, so I don't have like a bunch of damage and gross stuff to like deal with. So,
Hmm.
and consolidating boxes of stuff, and I bought 4 totes that I'm going to start figuring out how I'm going to start layering in old gear and old cables and shit to those things. So
Have
I
you
can start sort of pre-packing, over the next coming months, basically.
have you traveled any since the Rona?
No. No. I'm gonna go to Otakon this in end of July. That will be the most travel. Oh, that's not true. I was out for an Otakon meeting. I drove like 300 miles away,
Hmm.
round trip.
I have
Um,
a.
but it's not really a vacation. It was just a weekend thing.
I'm gonna go away for a weekend to Vienna
Hmm.
for a couple of days.
You and close to Europe, in Europe. I'm gonna take a train ride to somewhere fantastic and fabulous.
I
Have
think.
some lunch, and then in a half hour, just take the train back.
Oh, it's not a half hour. If
I
I go by
know.
train, it'd be like a 10-hour train ride. But
Mm,
like if I take the plane, it's gonna be 2 hours.
right.
So
Yeah.
I'm taking the plane
Yeah.
because
I mean, I guess in theory, it could be the same kind of thing. I could go to Kansas City, but you wouldn't do that for a weekend, right? Well, you could do it for a weekend. You wouldn't do it for, you can't just sort of Scotty beam me up to Kansas City and then have some lunch at a good place and then get some barbecue and take it home. Like you just that doesn't exist around here.
yeah. The thing I really miss is the going to like places like San Francisco because there's so much good food there. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
so nice to go back there at some point. Oh well. Uh, I hope the food in Austria is pretty good. I hope. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no context.
Hmm. So it's gonna be a couple of days there, and that's gonna be my first trip outside of the country in 5 6 years.
I've not been out of the country in very long time to the point where
Have you been
I
outside of
never
the state?
updated. Um, yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
this year alone, yes, that's true, and yes,
Consider this like within the same country, but in a different state because like
mm-hmm.
Europe, right? No,
Yeah,
there's no borders anymore. So
yeah. I mean, I my sort of normal with no, um, like doing anything special routine is yes, I would be out of Pennsylvania a couple times a year.
your mic cut off.
Maybe this year that's still
Your
true.
mic is no longer working. I can't
Are
hear
you
you
okay?
anymore. It just
My
stopped.
recording is fine.
I can't hear you. So where were we?
I don't even know what were you talking about. Well, there you go. There's your edit point. That's where we start. We had some audio hardware problems. It sounds like it was on my end.
Yeah.
And John's got lots of recording stuff, especially me doing a stupid test, which is I always say something random,
Mm.
which I'm used to no one ever hearing. So God knows what I said. So stupid. All right. So I don't know where the hell were we? We were ranting about stuff. I see. We were originally going to talk about a different topic.
Yeah.
We were talking about
Again.
home automation. So,
No,
yeah, I don't know.
We'll do
It'll
a
be a
separate
thing.
home automation thing at some point.
Yeah, yeah. And it will be the thing that sort of I iterate on, right? When I was always thinking about it here, I was doing it in such a way that was not destructive or intrusive to the existing house, right? Because I didn't own the house. And here it's one of those things where I have full opportunity to wire whatever the hell I want up. That being said, I also am having Cat 6 run through the house. So, and to each bedroom, washer and dryer room down obviously in the basement, where I expect to put the router and the initial like ISP router, um, and then stuff up to the loft. And I'm still going to use the wireless system I have today, the mesh network. I have the new one, which I've not turned on yet, connected at all. So I will probably, I don't know if I'll continue to use the old one or if I want to set up the new one and just be done with it. The new one should have Wi-Fi 6 capability to it. So, um, yeah, so between all that stuff, I should be sort of okay in terms of coverage. But
Hmm.
also, I have to think about it. I need to make sure that I have coverage over to the detached garage. That's a distance from the house, so that the car can
Can you run
get.
an underground cable?
Um, I mean, he's going to be putting the conduit in there. I mean, in theory, he could, but I'll just do it by wireless. Um,
Hmm.
because I don't know what outdoor. You can't just take the normal cable that you would run in your house for outdoor.
Well, if it's going through a conduit, it's probably fine.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. I,
Otherwise, you can use one of those um, directed antennas.
well, one of the wireless mesh that I have today makes it. You've been here, right? It makes it a good 1,000 feet away, no problem.
Hmm.
In terms of signal, maybe 1,000 feet is uh, maybe 500 feet. Within about 500 feet, might not be great, but it still makes it out, right? So my car is parked in a place that's easily a good 300 feet away, and I get signal. It's not the strongest, but it's still good, right?
You and your
So,
wooden houses.
hmm?
You
Yeah.
and your wooden houses.
So if I stick one of the older access points out there in bridge mode, um, and I just sort of stick that and one of the other ones, and I stick one in the kitchen, one of the old ones in the kitchen, and one of the new ones, obviously, somewhere on the in the living room. Between those sort of two things, I'll have the coverage that I need, so I should be fine.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So I don't know. When I'm in the environment, I'll know what it's going to be an ongoing process. Is really where I'm at until I'm
I,
living there, until I'm existing in this space, until I have thoughts about it. I don't know what if I want to do home assistant or and if I
mm,
do, what do I want to do there, and how far am I going, and I even set routines up here, and I use them for a moment. Then I realize I have someone who lives in this space who is going to screw them up. So I was like, all right, well, I turned all that stuff off, and I live without them. And while they're nice, they might not. I might not need them. Right, is my
mm.
point. So.
I think you should like stick some cameras in places before you start working like in the house. Like get the cameras up first. That's important. Now you can and
Indoor
you
or outdoor?
indoor.
Hmm.
So you can if you don't have to worry about wiring for the cameras and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be very nice. Also, if you stick a Synology NAS, get a Synology NAS. They're not that expensive. You can use that as your home automation hub. Like the newer Synology NASs support Home Assistant, so you
Oh,
can run
really?
Home Assistant from there,
Hmm.
and they're very good,
Hmm.
very reliable. We're gonna talk about backup systems today, but we didn't get to it.
Yeah,
Like we're not gonna get to it.
we already
But
talked long enough. Is the point?
we'll talk about it next time. I think I've got a article I want to write about like how I do backups for the stuff that I do. I ran into some issues with the latest podcast where I was copying over files over to the other file, and then I need to fix that at some point.
Hmm.
Not have that happen again because I edited it in the beginning of May, like on the 9th or something like that. I spent some time on it. Then I started working on it again like a week later. Then I was like, okay, I'll export it next time I get onto the computer. Didn't get on the computer for a week, and then I'll copy it over to my backup disk, and then afterwards I realized, I copied the backup over onto the current file, so all my edits were gone. Everything was gone. So yeah, backup strategies. But getting a Synology NAS, because it has a surveillance station in it, will do. It will be able to send out notifications. Hey, there's motion in the house, stuff like that, and it's a very good system. I think the Synology stuff is very solid. I've got that stuff in the house, and I'm really enjoying it. The only problem I have right now is that my Synology NAS doesn't have a powerful enough CPU to do the Home Assistant, but you'd have to get one of the newer models. But they're not that expensive, like $200-300 for a good NAS.
Oh,
right?
okay. Because anytime I looked at anything where
You still have to put the discs in, but
right, yeah, well, that was
you'd not put discs in. You'd put some
right.
SSDs in it.
That's where I was gonna get to that point, which is like anytime I looked at a Synology, it's like, oh, why would I get a little tiny one when I can get a big one? Oh, and then I get all the drives to and then the price just goes up. You're talking thousands.
No.
Almost.
At $200-300 for the Synology NAS and 2 discs in it, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting the CPU in it that supports Home Assistant, because you need to run Docker on it to run Home Assistant, and the older NASs don't really run on Docker. Docker doesn't run on my Synology NAS anyway.
Well, things to think about when I get to that moment. I'm not there yet.
Yep. Synology is very good, in my opinion. You can run it off of Raspberry Pi too, but
Yeah, I know that some people were making little hubs for Home Assistant, and they don't cost that much. But I don't know. I'll look at it when I look at it. The point here is, I have a certain budget that I'm eating into because I made upgrades, and then additionally, I need a reserve budget for getting a fridge and washer and dryer, right? And all these little things, and then some new furniture, right? All these things sort of just compound on each other. So, yeah.
Well, I know what you're getting for Christmas.
Oh, that's the other thing is I want to have a good control over the crap I take, crap I get rid of, and new stuff I bring in, because I just don't want to be in that scenario where I just like all of a sudden I'm get all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like, look, I already have a table down here that I'm going to take. I have one upstairs I'm going to take. The couch I'm giving to my existing housemate because he's sort of marked his territory on it.
Print.
Yeah, so I was just like, no, you're gonna have it, dude. Same thing with my kitchen table. He sort of marked his territory and put dents and stuff in it. And it's like, nope, not taking that. I don't know if I'm gonna take the mini fridge. I might. I don't know. It's been off basically for 12 years. I don't even know if the thing works. I'm probably just gonna get rid of it. So.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be very energy efficient.
No. So.
Anyway, I think we'll talk about home automation at some point after you're moved.
Probably after I moved, and a little bit of time after I moved from that, because again, like I said, it's going to be a moment before I figure out what I'm doing with all the stuff. So.
But just make sure you have like space for if you're doing the conduit stuff. Make sure you have some space for like cameras.
Yeah. And most of the stuff I'll do is probably wireless, right? I'll get a pack of wireless ones. But again, I think the most immediate place.
Well, you're still gonna have to power it.
Sure, right. But the most immediate conversation piece is, what does the view look like from the door, and what am I gonna do there, and do I want to do like an Amazon drop off lockbox and crap like that. So,
Is
these
that
are all
new?
things.
Is that something they do now?
No, there are people you can spend like $200 and you get these look like a piece of furniture, and it basically you can only drop into it, and you can do some reasonably big packages, and then it drops to the bottom, and then there's usually a door there with a key that you can go kind of open up and basically pull your stuff out.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's some ones that are nice and some that are just like one-way drop boxes
Okay.
for packages that they're making. Now that being said, unless you bolt the thing down into your porch, I mean, someone wants it, they'll just take the whole box.
Just put it full of glitter.
Yeah. So, I don't. It's not that I have a trust issue with the neighborhood. You don't know what you don't know. These are all new homes, so it's not like they're going into their own
doorbell
community.
or something like that in there.
Hmm.
Are you gonna put a Ring doorbell? Or something like
Probably not Ring as the brand. I might actually do Google Hello.
that? Okay.
So what I'm thinking, which means I should probably buy at least a Google Hub and leave that in the kitchen. The Hub Max or whatever it is, the screen version.
Yeah, it's the Nest stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean I have some stuff here, but I don't have it in full, right? So I have some devices, but I also have it intermixed with Amazon stuff. So, and
Yeah.
Google has never been fantastic with a full home automation suite, which is ironic.
Well, I
because
pay for the Google One. I don't know
Right.
if Nest is included in that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I do have Google One as well. The Google Assistant is so much better over Amazon's. However, the integrations are much better with Amazon's stuff. Amazon has so many more partner integrations comparatively. So, like I don't need the faucet. Give me 70 degrees hot. Like I don't need that. I don't need that kind of level of automation, but I definitely want to control lights and doors and potentially motorized blinds and stuff like that. If it's not too unreasonable in terms of cost, At the end
Yeah.
of the year, I want to have some money left over. I still, it's still budgeting that I need to survive. I'm not tapping into any surplus there either. So,
Yeah.
gotta pay bills.
Okay, so let's head over to the fun stuff. We have some links we want to share. I went the making and other interesting stuff this time, not music.
So,
making a replacement glass chart for an optical comparator.
yeah, what do you use one of those for?
Let's say you want to make a technical drawing for a specific screw or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You use that to magnify it, and you know what the sizes are because of the markings on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So you can measure what the distance is between the two.
Got it. Okay.
This is one of the uses that's demonstrated in the actual video. So Polymatic.media/14R.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A strange way to drink coffee from a very popular YouTuber who is experimenting with shorts and additionally TikToks. Polymatic.link/14x. I don't think I would ever. No, never. I would never. Nope. It's too weird for me, man. I like the sip.
This is just
It's just weird.
bad.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if that could be a good use case for somebody who wants to drink fresh orange juice that has pulp in it, but doesn't want the pulp.
Well, the pulp is gonna block off the filter
Sure.
in an instant.
Just so would the grinds in
Well,
coffee.
the grinds are the grinds are a little bit heavier, and they won't stick to the mesh that much compared to the pulp, because the pulp is more like a little sliver.
I don't know.
Be easier to stick to the filter.
I think it roughly is the same problem. You just have to kind of tap it off and.
Well,
make
if you
its way
stick
back in.
the straw in the bottom of your cup, yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was interesting, but I'm like, no, I would never, not ever do that.
this is so bad. There's no bridges in East London. Polymatic link /14s.
Yeah, that guy is interesting to watch him
Yeah, he
though.
has a lot more videos about this, the whole
Hmm. I don't.
London area.
I think I've seen this guy before, but I think it's because you have shared his videos.
I
Um,
don't know.
that being said, I've not sent any of his links or anything to any of friends that I know live in that area, like in London in general, not necessarily East London, London. So. Okay, so this is more of a developers thing. I thought it was kind of interesting. They came up with a solution to kind of offset things on the web workers first. Just I mean, if you want to control all the third party things that sort of junk up your website, you can kind of containerize them into a web worker. And this sort of experiment library is called Partytown. Polymatic.link/14y. This is for JavaScript. People interested in web development and JavaScript.
Yeah.
I've been I subscribe or I follow that guy's TikTok channel, and he has some pretty good stuff. So I'm sort of following him. I haven't gone to see if he's got a YouTube or if he's got Twitter or anything like that. But anytime his stuff comes up, I take a look, and yeah, it's interesting stuff, especially if you do development and you still care about learning about new development stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he doesn't always hit stuff that is new to me, but it's still good to have that sort of conversation going in a different format. So,
Okay, fixing old machines with 3D printed parts. Polymatic link/14t. It was another one of those, fixing things and other kind of videos. So
mm-hmm.
DIY home, doing it yourself. You're not paying a bucket of money for, a part that
Mm-hmm.
you can make yourself. Repairing old stuff without having to throw it away.
Yeah, yeah, and people who really are astute with their 3D printing stuff. They'll create solutions for themselves,
Yeah, the
and
problem
they'll
is you're gonna be working on like a part for like hours on end, so you're
right.
wasting your own time.
But I mean, isn't that the same thing when you're writing code, right? You write yourself a method or a function, and you spend time sort of building the right thing. And once you get it, you reuse it, and you reuse it forever, right? It's the same thing with like you prototyping a part, right? You go and you could spend dunk a tremendous amount of hours on things, but the more you do this, the more often, the better you the better that you get at it, and then it sort of becomes part of your arsenal of things, and then you could reshare that out with the collective community.
Anyway,
Make it easier for everybody.
so Polymatic link/14t for that.
Yeah. So I follow another TikToker where there's at least the company in the U.S. where they have, I think they're called Firefly maybe, where they have figured out how to take like FPV drones and sort of organize them and program them to do these amazing light shows in place of fireworks. So this is one out of Sydney, Australia. At least that's what's sort of labeled. And I thought this was interesting. I thought it was pretty good. But it was a drone show. Polymatic.link/14z. That was pretty good. It's only a short clip, though.
It showed up on my TikTok as well.
Yeah, I
yesterday.
think the original video showed up. And then this one is sort of it showed up again where someone's repurposing it. Where they put a label on it and then they claim it as theirs and they reference somebody else and then they get the view counts and the money that's related to that. It's a real crappy practice that people, institute.
Okay, next one is NixieTube, DIY NixieTube clock, Polymatic link/14u. It's another one of those, somebody made a project for this.
Mm-hmm. I've seen sort of a knockoff one where you can just buy a kit you can assemble.
There's ones with
with
OLED,
LED.
tiny OLED displays.
Yeah, that one. And you can just buy them and just have them around. Maybe that's a thing I leave somewhere in the new house or something. But I won't be the one who's sitting there setting up a soldering workstation in the basement. Like I'm just not gonna do that. It's not my thing. Though now I think about it, I have unfinished basement, which I, in theory, in my head, probably in 15 years I'll finish. But I could turn it into a, where I do 3D printing or something. It's
You'll
possible.
turn that into that area from the guy from Enemy of the State with the, the mesh
Oh,
side panels
Faraday
and stuff.
Faraday cage.
Your bunker.
No, God, that's a callback to a movie. Uh, all right. Yeah, that was polymatic.link/14yo. Okay, so this is more just in the scope of fun. The thing is, I followed along with what she was saying for like 95%. I was totally following her. And I'm an old guy. Polymatic.link/150 high key sus.
I think the reason some people don't understand is because they don't follow along. They don't pay any attention to it.
Or they
And
also don't pay attention to sort of current culture. And because they don't pay attention to current culture, they can't translate these sort of nonsensical sort of abbreviation or supplements for the for this stuff. And it's I don't know. I just pick it up all the time. It's not a big deal.
don't use it.
Sometimes I will find myself googling like, what the fuck was that? Oh, I got it. I know what they mean now. Right.
Yeah. It's kind
Because
of funny that
some of it is not logical. It's like an abbreviation of an abbreviation making into a joking reference to abbreviation that became like the thing.
yeah.
It's so nonsensical. uh,
Okay, so it's Polymatic link /150 for that.
yeah.
And then a cast bronze sword. I don't know if it's actually a sword. I think it's not a sword per se, but Polymatic link /14V. More making stuff.
A pirate's swashbuckler sword or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so this was really for you, John. I thought this was interesting. Someone did is they created themselves. They took a spool holder for 3D, printing, and then they did
Made
something
it
with it.
worse.
Turned it into a Marvel machine. I don't know. I mean, it could be neat. Polymatic.link/151. Have you ever done anything like that where you've sort of printed yourself like a spool holder or parts, or like what do you do with when you run out of a spool? I guess you don't you 3D print stuff, but you don't go through it enough, right? Some of these people that are on TikTok are like they have whole rooms where they sell, you know, the the penguins and the dragons and stuff, and all kinds of flower pot holders. You know, they make money out of it, make it turn into a business. So for them, having to make a spool holder and
Well, the thing is, this spool holder is really not useful because it's making noise every time it rolls. It makes noise, and
well, in
if
this
you want to
case, this
reduce the
one
amount of
does.
noise it makes,
In this case, this one does. But the holder itself, despite the marbles or the bearings, could be useful.
if that's your thing, then that's your thing. But like, it's gonna
Yeah.
make noise every time it rolls, so that's not good.
Hmm.
You want to reduce the amount of noise you make,
Hmm.
especially
Okay.
if you're working in that same area, and 3D printers can be noisy
Mm-hmm.
if they're not maintained. They start making noise. Like especially the newer 3D printers, they're pretty silent most of the time because
Mm-hmm.
they have better, like in the beginning there was a lot of motor controllers made a lot of noise and they caused the motors to make a lot of noise, and now it's all they've tuned it to like be as silent as possible, and then the way the bearings linear bearings work, like to make it as quiet as possible. And but like at some point, if you don't maintain it or dust gets in, it start making noise, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the moment where you have to go clean it, because if you don't, you're gonna wear stuff out, and that's gonna mess things up. I still have an very old FlashForge Creator Pro. It's like a dual head printer, and like the bed is very tiny, and like when I look at it and look at the Ender 3, my Ender 3 is like, it's got a lot of more space on it, but the flash forward is very noisy for what it is. I'm like, I really should get rid of it at some point. But I'm like, oh yeah, but I can actually use it. And then, yeah, I need to do a purge with electronics and like give it to people, just give it away.
I again, like I said, I lean over, I look at stuff, and I go, yep, I had that stuff to get. Like, I can say, hey Matt, I have a stereo system. It's really good. I just have no use for it. Do you want it? Otherwise, I am trashing it. And he might say, oh, yeah, okay, bring it over, right? And then, I love my subwoofer back there, but I don't use it. It just sits there as a piece of furniture I put shit on top of. So do I want to keep the subwoofer? Maybe. But when I get to again, it becomes the day that I'm in, and I feel like I absolutely desire having a sound system again, then that becomes a budget and an expense. Right?
It's never going to happen again.
Right. I think knowing me, I'll probably get a sound bar and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a spool holders, Polymatic link/151, and then making optical logical gates using interference. It was an interesting video. Polymatic link/14W for that.
Mm-hmm. And last, because I always have this side thought where you're like, oh, I want that thing I would able to get from the Chinese restaurant place. I need that recipe. I want to get my local place. How do I make that? And so I saw this and I was like, all right, John might want to know about this. I'm not going onto the site, so I don't know how good it is. But Polymatic.link/152. This is probably a little less about like local restaurants. This is more about for franchise restaurants. But this is like a site that if you want to know a popular restaurant chains, you kind of want to make their recipe. You go there and it will show you how to what the recipe is, how to make it.
So I did that for Chishu, which is a Chinese restaurant, Chinese dish.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I gotta figure out how to make it and stuff like that. And there's like 3 or 4 different recipes, the main recipes, and there's like different recipe sites that have like different recipes, and they all want to show you 5,000 ads to do the thing. And it'd be nice if there's like a no nonsense, recipe site, but like I don't know if this is gonna be it. It sounds like it's gonna be one of those.
Maybe, I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting. This guy he intentionally does things where he calls it Google A. He's just a kid who shares sites. Every once in a while, he's like no one else knows about that, but then there's every once in a while there's a thing. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So.
Okay, it was Polymatic link/152.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to find Alan, you go to Polymatic link/Alan. If you want to find me, you can find me at Polymatic link/John. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Our Twitter is @Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.